Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share my June wrap up with you, and I read quite a few things, not quite what I had on my TBR, but let's go ahead and jump in with the first book. I really started off the month strong with Under the Rose-Tainted Sky by Louise Garnell. This is an Own Voices mental health story focused on our main character, Nora. The only thing that I'm going to say is that when a boy is introduced into this story, he is not there to save the day. I ended up rating Under the Rose-Tainted Skies 5 stars. The next book that I picked up is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is my second try at something by Neil Gaiman. This one I did not rate on Goodreads just because I don't even understand what I read. I realize that it's probably magical realism, and I think I'm finding out that that's just a genre that's not for me. But this is about a man that goes home because someone in his family died, and he ends up going down to the neighbor's house and reminiscing about something that happened in his childhood, and there's monsters, and there's maybe first love, and there's an ocean, and I believe the women have powers, and I don't know, I was just so confused by this that I just left it unrated because I don't think I understand it enough to rate it, and I don't know if I enjoyed it or not. And for last year-a-thon, I picked up Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I ended up rating this one 3 stars. I was disappointed by it. I do have a full review on my channel if you are interested. Retelling aspect was there, like you could pick out parts of the Lewis Carroll story, but some of the characters were just annoying, and the things that I really loved, like the baking and the quirkiness, kind of fell off towards the end. The pacing was also extremely off, and I only really liked one character, Jest, so watch that review if you want to hear my full thoughts. Next up, I picked up probably my favorite book of the year. Who knows? I know the year's not over. This book releases on September 19th by Simon Pulse. It is Obsessed, a memoir of my life with OCD by Allison Britz. I was sent this from the publisher, so thank you so much, and I have already talked to the author in form of my review, and they really appreciated my review. That's on my blog. I will have a video review in September. I definitely want you guys to pick this up if you're into Own Voices mental illness focused novels. This is actually Allison Britz's memoir of when she was 15 years old, and she began kind of rituals, those repetitive rituals that OCD is known for. So definitely recommend. I do have a review on my blog. I talked about this in my 5-star rated books that you need to read now. I loved this so much. I picked up Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. Loved this one. I'm not sure I loved it maybe as much as the first one, but then at the same time it's in some aspects I loved it more. I rated both of these books 5 stars because they're just simply masterpieces for their short story size. This one focuses on characters from the first book, Jack and Jill. This is kind of their origin story, if you want to call it that, but it's basically what happened to them and how they ended up at the Wayward School. They go off to this place called the Moors, and it just sounds like a very interesting divided place, and Jack and Jill as twins are kind of divided in a way. It's how their parents raised them, and then kind of how they continued to be growing up. But very interesting story. It was more character focused than really plot focused. I just love the diversity that is in this series. I really don't want it to end with a 3rd book, but we'll see, guys. We'll see. Next, I read One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I picked this up because it is a, thriller, mystery, suspense, YA story. A lot of people are, relating this to The Breakfast Club, and I understand why they're saying that. I happen to disagree with them. It wasn't my favorite thriller, mystery, suspense novel by any means. I do plan on doing a full review of this one. There were some things that I really loved, and there were some things that I really did not like. One of the things that I really loved is that these cliche, typically tropey characters really grew throughout the story, and not all is as it seems, they kind of become deeper characters, and they're not just these surface level characters anymore. So that's really great to see. Also, the whodunit aspect, I wasn't really thinking about that really too much. I was kind of involved in well, at the beginning, of course, I was like, who done it, who done it, who done it? And then I kind of just like relaxed into the story and the characters and what was happening in the relationships between the characters. Something that I really did not like about this, and this is coming from white, heterosexual, privileged female, white female, but I didn't like the coming out story in this. That storyline, I'm glad that there was, you know, diversity in the story in that way, but this book felt very written in 2017 just because of like the social media aspects and the, you know, the language that they used, but I don't know, that storyline didn't kind of fit with the 2017 vibe. I'll go more into thoughts in my review, but I would love to hear what someone that is gay and that has come out has experienced, and if it's like this or if you're sick of hearing this kind of storyline, like, please educate me in the comment section down below. Okay, and then I read 4 little short things. We Should All Be Feminists. This is the shortened version of her TED Talk. I loved this book so much. I wasn't expecting to get so much out of it, but I totally did. So it's a very short, tiny book, and I really want to pick up other books by her. The Thing Around Your Neck, Americana, Half of a Yellow Sun. I really do want to pick up some of her other books after reading this. But my 3 main takeaways, I would say, from the story, and I did write this in my Goodreads like review of this. One of her points was, what if raising children we focus on ability instead of gender? What if we focus on interest instead of gender? And she's all about, like, she understands that how people are raised, it kind of like keeps coming with us as we age, and those ideals and those messages stick with us. But what if we start right here, right now, with raising our own kids in this way? And it was just such a magical thought. Okay, second one was that I myself, just like she herself, is trying to unlearn many lessons of gender that I internalized while growing up. But I sometimes still feel vulnerable in the face of gender expectations. So that's something that she struggles with and I struggle with, but kind of acknowledging that we're struggling with it and that we're still learning and we're still growing. I just thought that was really powerful. And then the last key part that I took away, and I have heard this before, so I just thought it was really great that it was addressed right in here, and I never had a good answer for it, but she answered that question for me in like the perfect way. And it says, why the word feminist? It says, why not just say that you were a believer in human rights or something like that? Because that would be dishonest. Feminism is, of course, part of human rights in general, but to choose to use the vague expression human rights is to deny the specific and particular problem of gender. It would be a way of pretending that it was not women who have for centuries been excluded. It would be a way of denying that the problem of gender targets women, that the problem was not about being human, but specifically about being a female human. And I just thought, yes, that's exactly it, because I'm not talking about human rights. I'm talking about my rights as a female. So I loved this. I will probably read this many more times and get many more takeaways. But in the very short time that I read it, because it's very short, those are the 3 takeaways that like meant the most to me at that moment. Short little poetry book by Gina Myers that I picked up at Chop Suey. Also picked this up at Chop Suey. But read this. It's very quick. Some of it was good, some of it was not. I would say it was rather average. The one thing that I will say is that as you read the poetry, I didn't really care for the style. But as you read more and more of it, you kind of fall into the style and understand the style a little bit more, and you find the sentence breaks naturally on your own, and then you start to enjoy it a little bit more. So this is one that you kind of have to sit down and analyze. And sometimes for poetry, like, I just want to feel something. you know, and I didn't really feel anything with this. Then I picked up Be by Sarah Kay. It's just so magical, and it's just a poem that every single line that is delivered is intentional. Every single line is just like, I want to be you. Like, you want to think like she thinks, and you want to like strive to be that awesome. Just, I love these. Like, I loved the other one that I read by her. I love this one. I'm so glad. I like obviously rated it 5 stars. But there's a couple of lines in here that I marked that I just thought I would share with you, because there's nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop kissing the shoreline, no matter how many times it's swept away. And then this one I really love, and that's the one that has the little cup of like coffee or tea, and it says, but I want her to know that this world is made out of sugar. It can crumble so easily, but don't be afraid to stick your tongue out and taste it. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. But this is if Sarah Kay, or like she's writing as if, you know, when I have a daughter, these are things I'm going to do. These are things that I'm going to teach her. And I just absolutely love it. I think that all parents should read this and aspire to do this with their child. The last book that I read was another collection of poetry, and this one was Dear Stranger by Jenny Brown, and I just recently got this. Cool, because this was printed at my old University of Tampa Press. Not like this, not one little bit. Rated it 1 star. There was one poem out of this collection that I liked. Different breaks and how it's like spaced out. I couldn't get into it, and it's not consistent, so you never like got into the flow. Those are the books and the poems and the poetry collections that I read this month. Let me know if you would like any individual reviews for any of this. I do plan on doing for One of Us is Lying, but other than that, I do have the one for Heartless, and other than that, I think I said enough here today. But let me know if you need to hear more. Let me know what your favorite book is that you read this month, and I hope you're all having a lovely day. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!